All right, please can you see my screen? Can you indicate if you can see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up so I can proceed. Thank you, thank you. All right, so today we don't want to waste much time. We're looking at session 4 because we met today's supposed to be session 5, but we've met session 3 two times. We repeated session 3 two times, so that is why we'll be doing session 4 now, so making it 5 sessions. All right. So today we'll look at building application using platform independent widgets. And platform independent widgets, as I discussed last time, is all about. Does somebody want to ask? Okay, can you ask question, please? Who's raising hand to ask question? Want to ask question? You can ask. Who want to ask question, please? All right. So independent widget platform independent widget include text widget, image widget, icon, and the form. So these are independent widgets. They are not specific to material design or Cupertino design. These are Flutter independent widgets. Right. So the goal of this session is for you to understand the different widgets that are present in Flutter, and now you can use it to build a Flutter application independently using this widget, right? So like I said, these widgets are independent widget. They don't have children within them. They are not multi-layout widget like column, like the row, like your stack. These are independent widgets. They don't have children with them. First, we look at the text widget, right? The text widget helps one to create text elements and display them in the application, right? So every text you are seeing, like what you are seeing on my screen right now is text. These are text widgets, right? In mobile, every text you are seeing, it is being created with the text widget. There's no other shortcut. You just have to use text widget to create anything pertaining to text. Right? So the text widget can be customized accordingly to what the user wants. Right? For example, you can customize the text animation, the colors, the size you want, and so other many custom properties that you can use with this um, text widget, right? So text widget takes in a mandatory string parameter. Of course, you cannot create an empty text widget. It doesn't make sense to the user. You just have to type something when you are creating a text. Don't just open an empty string and nothing is there. It doesn't make sense. So always make sure that you passing something into the parameter when you are creating a text, and it can have some other parameters such as the text style. Now, the text style is the parameters or the property that you are going to use to style your text, like adding the color, adding the font weight, the font size, the font family, and so others, right? So this is the syntax for creating. This is syntax for creating text widget, right? Text, open your parentheses, and then you pass something to the parameter, and then you go. We are going to do a demo very soon. So adjusting the style of the text widget, right? So the text widget can have a style parameter. Like I said, the styling is just to add color, the font, and boldness and everything. This is an extra parameter that can be added along with the syntax to add style based conditions. So this styling is just for you to add some styling to your text, just to beautify it, make it look good, right? So that's just the purpose. If you look at my screen, you can see the text here. This is a text widget, styling, font size, and so let's go back to our code. Let me increase my font size here so that it can be a little bit bigger. So, so let me increase my font. All right. So I guess it's a little big now, so you can see some things on the screen properly, right? So let's go back to, for demonstration purpose, let's go back to our previous application that Flutter created for us when we started our application. Remember, these are what we've done previously from our classes. Uh, this was our last class, and then let me come back to our main. Right, this is our main. This is the code that Flutter created for us when we first create our application. So in here, let me run this code. Let me bring it back, my home page. Let's use my home page as our running class. Okay, this is main. Okay, home. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Home. Let's use my home page so we can have our default home page here again. So let's say title, let's call it last bootcamp, as bootcamp class. So let's run this, let's run our project. So now we can see this is text, but it's coming from the home page, right? So like I said initially, when you run your code, always look at your log to see if there's anything going wrong with your code or something is not behaving fine. So each time you run your application, look at your log so that you can see what you have. Okay. So here, this is text. This is how you can add text to your application. We have the text here, which is the widget itself, and then we have the parameters, right? Inside the parameter, we have push the button this many times, right? So this is what you pass into the parameter of your text. And how do you define your text? This is the widget. And then the style, right? You can style it like this, and you can also have another styling called text style, which is the common one, and that is the one I'm going to use for uh, for example sake in this class. Right? I'm not going to use the style which is coming from the team. I just want to use the text style for common, for basic properties of text. Right? So I'm just waiting for the application to come up so that we can begin to modify our code. Right. So let's just wait a bit. Let's go back to our material while we are waiting for our project to launch. So if you look at from our material here, you will see that text widget from Flutter created application for us. This is the text. You have pushed the button this many times, right? And while we are waiting for the project to run, so let's just wait before we go into another properties of independent Flutter widget, which is the image. So why before we go to image, let's see if our project okay. Like I said, when you are running your application for the first time, sometimes it takes time. All this depends on your system specification, right? System speed, you know, your system performance, right? So sometimes it takes time, but after this first build, subsequent build, we always run faster. When you hot reload, you always see your changes applying on the UI. So let's just wait a little bit. It will soon start running. Please, if you have any question, you can unmute your mic and ask. All right, unmute your mic. Ask me any question you want to ask along this class. It's a boot camp, so there's nothing to really worried about. It's taking a little bit of time. Just wait a bit. Okay, so while it's running, let's just go to image and just explain. So when it's finished building and running, I will come back to explain what is going on. So another independent widget is called the image widget, right? Almost every application you see in the market have one or two images on the screen. So these images, what are they? Right? I've not seen application without image. I'm not sure there's any application without one form of image or the other. Right. So when a user wants to add an image to an application, right, you can do it by adding those images to the asset folder. Now, if you come to application, here in your top root of your project, you need to create a new folder directory, right? Call it assets. Right? So this is asset. In this asset, here you can add your images. Now you can create another folder and let's just say images, and here you can add your images to this folder. Remember, you need to come to the root of your project where you have your project name, right click, create a folder, call it assets folder, and then that is the convention. Then you can either you directly add it to the asset folder or you can create a subfolder and then like images and then add your images into this folder so you can use it later on in your project, right? So you can always create subfolders if you want for proper arrangement of your images. If you have maybe you are building an e-commerce website and you have maybe images for electronics and images uh for for clothes, and you have images for maybe food items, so you can segment your folder in that way so you can properly manage things. But if you are just building maybe a simple application, it's okay to just create one image folder and there directly you can put your content inside. All right, so that is the asset folder I'm talking about. So asset images are present as part of the asset bundle of the app and are deployed with the app so that they are readily available during the runtime, right? What does this mean is that the asset folder is available with your app, right? So when you Flutter recognizes this Flutter recognizes this asset folder. It knows asset folder is meant for images. Nothing else should be in the asset folder than your images. So Flutter recognizes uh, this folder for that purpose. So it is important to note that asset images um, can be displayed using the image class in Flutter, right? So it is important just to know that asset images can be displayed using the image class in Flutter, right? So now there are some constructors to load images in image widget, right? So constructors to load, sorry for the background noise, please. So just try to bear with me. Understand constructors to load images in image widget. One, we have the image.asset, and we have the image.file, we have the image.memory, right? So these are the we have the image.network, sorry. So these four constructors are what we use to load images in Flutter. Okay. All right. So image class has several properties, and uh, we are going to see some of the properties. Now, before then, let me just explain some of these constructors for you, right? The image asset, right? This is utilizing for displaying images from the asset bundle, right? Flutter has some asset bundle where you can uh, pick some already made images, or if you have image from your file, it's coming from a file, good, or images from the memory, from system memory, want to pick images like your phone memory, where it is coming from, that is good. And then images from network like URL, want to pick an image from a network URL, then that is also good. You can also leverage on that. This question is still not running till now. So image.network is where you pick image from your URL, right? So let's look at some of the class several properties. Um, we have the height of image, we have the width of image, right? Of course, these are, I'm just trying to single out the important properties like you will be using most of the time. And then we have the box fit. Box fit is another important properties that you will be using. Okay, so please note this other one. Then we have the opacity, we have the rect, right? The rect is used to we want to repeat some images on the screen, make it look like a zigzag repetition, something like that. So you can play with this. So these are good important properties you will likely see. All right, so finally code has successfully run. All right, so I'm using my phone directly since my emulator is giving me some issues to display. So I'm using phone. Now you can see it's not really clear like that on my phone, but just try to understand. You have pushed the button this many times. So this is the text on the screen. So I just want to add another text. So we see how text is being added and some other decoration text. Let me open. Let's say uh, testing text widgets. Okay, now it came below the zero, right? It came directly below the zero, like you can see. Now, let me add some spacing, size box. Let's do a height. Let's just give 20 for now. All right, just to give some spacing. Now this is our text, and you can see, let's add some styling to the text. If you do uh, style, right, then we have text style, text style. So what properties do we have, right? When you do this, you can see all the property we have. We have the color, the font size, decoration, font style, font family, the background color, right? So much properties, right? So Flutter is very flexible. You have a lot of things to make your UI look very responsive and beautiful and appealing, right? So let's just text. Let's take color, and let's give it colors. Dot. Let's use blue. All right, our text has turned to blue color, and then let's add font size. Let's make it big. Let's add it to be 50. Hope it's not too big. Okay, yeah, 50 is fine. Let's add. Let's make it bold. Font weight. Let's make it bold. Font weight. Dot bold. Okay. All right. So these are some of the image properties, and you can see you can decorate it. Any other thing you uh, can add. Let's say background. Let's say background color. Let's say that you can see added amber color to the background. So these are some of the properties of image that you can see. So we have the text color to be blue, and we have the background color to be amber color, right? So this is how you play with the text. Like I said, let's go back to the images. So these are the properties I've explained a little bit about the images, and then we still have some other properties match, but the most important properties, believe me, is the height, the width, and the box fit. These are these are the properties that is mostly important that you might be using and you will be using most of the time. So let's just pick an image and just to add and see. Let's go online, and let's just pick any image. Let's go to, let's say, Pixabay. Let's see image we can use just for just for testing purpose. So let me just see this. Okay, let's see if I can get the image URL. Pixabay. This will not give us, this is not the direct URL of this image. Let's see if this is gonna give us image URL direct. No, I don't want to download. Okay, let's see. Just let's see some other link you can get free images on Splash. Yeah, I was looking for this guy on Splash. I see on Splash. Uh, okay, let's pick this. Let's see. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. All right. So we grab this URL of this image. Let's come back to application. So beneath this, let's add beneath our text here. Let's do this. So let's add a size box for space. Let's give a height of let's just say 10. Okay, and let's add image image.network. This is what we want. Okay, we want a network image. So here the source, you can add our string that we copy for the image. Okay, just put your string here, and after that we can have some styling to the images. First, let's see the image going to display. All right, so we can see our image have displayed on the screen, but now it is big because we just want it to be small. So we have to do what? We need to apply these properties, okay? And then just give it some height, some width, to make it a little bit smaller. So what we need to do is immediately after your string here, do what? Fit, right? Fit is one property that will make the image to fit properly to the screen. So here we apply what we call box fit. We have what we call box fit, yeah. Box fit dot let's say contain, right? Contain. Now it has contained, but within the size. So let's add size of let's add some size. Let's say height, width. Let's give it 100, and height of 100. Hope that is not too much. All right, you see, it's too small. Let's make it 200, okay, or 300. 300 by 300. Right, this is better. So, right, so this is some of the properties of image, and this is how you add your image. And always verify the link or the source of your images, just to make sure copyright protected and privacy policy is not an issue when we are getting images from online. All right, so that is some of the properties. There are a lot of properties of images as well that you can always play with. Now we have the icon widget. These are independent widgets. So icons are used as representative symbol for quickly understanding of functionality, right? So some icon already speak for themselves, right? If you see, when you see a camera icon, just like your phone, you see camera icon, you know this is camera, even without the alternative text, or without writing the text, you know this is camera, right? So when you see some buttons, you can quickly understand the functionality, right? And it's also here for some navigation of paths. So some examples are the basic icon widget with default values, the resize icon using the size properties, and the changing of icon colors, right, using the color properties. So these are some of the properties that comes with icon. Icon have sizes. You can make it big, you can make it small. You can also change the size of an icon, right? So let's look at a basic icon here. Let's we will just utilize our screen. I will just add just one icon to this. So beneath this, beneath our network, right, our image network. So let's add an icon. Let me add a size box again. I know I'm repeating size box. We can define one size box and just you know make it, you just keep adding our properties to the size box, right? We make it a clean code. We are not doing, I know, MVC right now. We are just a demo, okay? So permit me to. I'm just repeating, uh, just repeating same code here. So please, just for teaching purpose, all right? So size box of 20. Then below the, let's our icons. Icon, sorry, let's give, okay, let's just give this plus for instance. Okay, you can see the plus button, or else we know this plus is always about add, right? We call it plus or add. It's a add button to add something to the screen. If you want to always add, then you can use add. So let's style it. Let's give it some styling. Let's say colors dot red. Let me give this red. Okay. All right. Let's give it size. Let me give it 50. Okay, so you can see that is our plus button. We can have another button again. Let me just copy this and paste and just change the, let's check our material. What we have, AC unit outline. Okay, let's see unit outline. Right, so this is for like when you take your AC remote, of course, you will see this kind of icon that okay stand for either cooling or room temperature or too cold. So these are a lot of, Flutter have a lot of, let me just do this so you can see icons dot. So you can see there's a lot of buttons packaged for you with Flutter frameworks, right? So you can see a whole lot of buttons, ADB, whatever you are looking for. Of course, this represent like our Android symbol, like used to like debug. This is what Android use most time. So these are let's change this color. Let's use green, which is mostly let's use this green. Yeah. So let's this look more of Android logo. So these are some of the properties of icon. You can do a whole lot of things with icon. Okay. So these are just like example. So you can change the color. I've shown you how you can do that. You can change this color to whatever color you want. So basically, this is how these things work, right? And you can see the demo here. We also have similar things, just color is different and logo is different. We are using different logo. They are using another logo. So another important thing is form. Most applications collect users data, right? So when you want to collect data from user, what do you need is the form. You need a form. user to input their information, to input data, and you can collect it, store it into your database, and use it for what you want to use it for. Right. So form validation and form submissions are two things that uh, the the form widget helps to implement. Right. You validate form and you submit the form. I can also add you collect user information. After collecting, you validate the user information. After validating the user information, you submit the user information to your database for processing and for other things. Right. So for an application to be easy to use and safe, it is important to check if the information provided by the user is valid. Okay. So email field should be meant for email. Phone field should be used for phone number, right? So user should not type in phone number where you ask the user to type in email address, right? And user should not type in email address where you ask the user to type in phone number. So you need to validate these places, all these form fields, so that user will type in the proper, the needed information. So if the user happens to fill out the form correctly, the information can be processed. But if the user submit incorrect information, the widget displays an error message which is user friendly to let the users know that exactly what has happened. Right? We have seen it before in your web, in mobile, when you are trying to fill form and maybe you wrongly type your email address. It will just prompt you, oh, incorrect email address pattern, or that is not an email address. So you just make sure you follow proper pattern, or when you are typing your phone number to a field, it validates if the number is correct. Is it up to 10 digits? Is it up to 11 digits? Depending on your country code. Now, some of the properties we've discussed in this code snippet you are seeing here plays an important role in shaping out your form. Okay, they play an important role in shaping out your form. So the property called key, right? They say key. Every form have what they call the key, which is assign a value if a user wants to do any kind of validation, right? The child property, on the other hand, is used to have widget inside the form. So we will see this in example in our later classes. After this bootcamp, all what we will discuss programmatically and practically, we will write code back to back on them because we can't learn Flutter in 5 days. We can't learn Flutter in 5 days, and we cannot know everything in 5 days. So it's just a boot camp. Whatever knowledge I'm sharing right now is just to give you an insight of Flutter, what you can do with Flutter, the capacity of Flutter, and then you understand Flutter. So if you want to go more into the Flutter project, of course, we will now have a proper classes for this, starting from introductory to the end, talking about API, integration, database, and so on with Flutter. So these things is what we are going to teach you. But for now, I'm just giving you an overview because I cannot compress everything for you in 5 days. So every form is being validated, right? There's a key to validate a form. So when you have a form, like look at my code snippet 7 here, form, key. So this key is going to validate this form, and then whenever you want to do anything to this form after collecting all the users information and you want to submit this form, then you can use the key to validate every functionality or every field the of the form of what the user have typed in. So there are two types of widgets, right? One is the form itself, and we have the form field. Form is the parent, form field is the child, right? So the form holds the form field, right? So what do we have? Form is the parent, form field are the elements like like the name, like the email address, like the phone number, like maybe date of birth, and some other properties like you might attach to a form. These are called the form field. So the form widget maintains form field state and stores data such as current value and validity. It is important you note is to note that form widget act as a container where multiple form fields are grouped. Like I said, the form widget act as a container, like the parent. Then multiple forms are being added to that form field, to that form itself. When I say multiple form field, it's now the name, the address, the phone number, date of birth, whatever information you want to collect is inside the form, right? So you can see this is the key from this syntax you are seeing here. We have this uh, syntax of form widget, form, key, right? Required and boolean. So these are things we see. Then callback, or of course, we have our callback function for when you make changes, maybe for editing, want to edit your form and make some changes. So for change callback and will pop up and will pop up. So this all these properties of this form is what we are going to discuss, you know, in detail, like in detail, for proper understanding. Now, another important thing is what we call the global keys, right? The form has what we call global keys, which allow one to link to the form in the future, right? This keys gives one the ability to invoke any method, such as saved, in order to save the value of each child of the form. Now, this global key, when you want to save your form, you use this global key to save every form field, the name, the address, phone number, the email, and other properties that you collected in the form. So when you're validating this field, you use the global key, right, to save all everything now into your database. Uh, it's just theory, okay. When we go into practical, we will understand this. I don't want to write code for form right now because it's going to take more than our agreed time, right? So basically, that is all about this independent child widget. So all these properties I've mentioned, the text widget, the icon, uh, the form field, the images, these are independent widgets. So text can be customized in text widget with text style, right? The text style is what you use to customize your styling, just like you saw in our code, right? So when we use this text style, okay, we use the text style to customize our text. And then images, like I said, images in Flutter can be displayed by four methods. One, we have the asset, the file, the memory, and the network. The asset is what we have created here. So if you are picking your image from the asset, it will always come from this folder displayed. And if you are picking from a file, file will be from your internal memory of your device, right? And if you are picking your images from a URL, just like what we do here, for example, we pick this image from Unsplash and we display it on the screen. So this network images. So images can come from any source, provided you have the privacy and the privilege to use the images. So in Flutter icon, widget can show several inbuilt Flutter icons, and also important icons can be utilized with the icon widget. So there are some properties I've mentioned with the icon, that the resizing of the icon and coloring the icon, styling those icons. These are properties of icon that you can use to play. And then we have the form field, which is used for collecting user information, right? So whenever you want to pass user information to your database, you can use the form field to save users' data into uh, your database. Please, if you have any question, you can raise your hand and ask if you have any question to ask. The time is fast spent already. Alright, so once this bootcamp is completed, we initiate the next phase, which Pomfred will communicate with you guys. Alright, so thank you.